Now it's time for us to connect the learning theories that you've read about and thereby build the groundwork to the instructional design process. We want to start by looking at the definition for instructional design, and then from there move into the chronological development of the design theories, and we'll stop at a few models and look more closely what those mean, what the implications are for instruction. Okay, so let's move on. We have a definition here that Wikipedia gives us on instructional design, and the essence of it really is to mean that it defines for us what instructions or teaching should be like. And for that, we of course need to first determine the state and the needs of our learners. We need to define the end goals of our instruction and create some intervention to assist our learners in the transition. Originating in the United States in the late 1970s, instructional theory is influenced by three basic theories, and you've done your reading on those. Educational thought has been shaped by, as you know, behaviorism to a large extent. Behaviorism, the theory that helps us understand how people conform to predetermined standards, is not the only theory, though, and has been challenged by others, such as cognitivism, the theory that learning occurs through mental associations, and also by constructivism, the theory that explores the value of human activity as a critical function of gaining knowledge. Please be mindful of the fact that instructional theory is different from learning theory. A learning theory describes how learning takes place. It's in the name, right? Self-explanatory. While an instructional theory prescribes how to better help people learn. So, learning theories often inform instructional theory. So, if we refer to instructional design, what it really does for us is create conditions that increase the probability of learning. Instructional theories, let me summarize this, identify what instructional teaching should be like, right? So if I speak of the three general theoretical stances, we just mentioned them before, but I would like you to see specific models here that have been proposed for instruction. As you can see, there's a vast number of them. I highlighted a few in different colors because those will be the ones that we take time to look at a little more closely. Let me briefly refreshen your memory of the individual learning theories we looked at a little earlier in this week. When applied to education as a learning theory, behaviorism, on the left, indicates that the role of the teacher or the instructor is to promote learners' positive or desired responses, the behaviors, by providing appropriate stimuli and continual positive reinforcement. This type of instruction typically requires much repetition, memorization, question and response, and external motivators such as grading and praise, resulting in operant conditioning. Cognitivism is, as you might recall, a learning theory that asserts that each student constructs his or her own learning and knowledge. Like behaviorism, cognitivism observes new behavioral patterns, but cognitivism focuses on what behaviorism ignores, the thought process behind the behavior. Having observed changes in the behavior, adherents of this theory then use those changes as indicators to what's happening inside the individual's mind. So if we take that into the context of teaching now, from a cognitive point of view, the learning really is more of an internal and active mental process. So cognitivism really focuses on the how to learn. Constructivism, from a constructivist point of view, the learner is in control of his or her own learning. That's why it's important to make information accessible and available in several ways so that learners can revisit content anytime and also manipulate information based on their goals. Typically, a constructivist teaching strategy is based on the belief that students learn best when they gain knowledge through exploration and active learning. So instructors make a point to prepare hands-on materials to be used by the students instead of textbooks. And students are often encouraged to think and explain their reasoning instead of memorizing and reciting facts. So education from this vantage point is centered on themes and concepts and the connections between them, rather than isolated information. Those of you who have read up on andragogy and Nowell probably have come across the 5 universal assumptions that he made about adult learners to help instructors design appropriate instruction. So let's revisit those assumptions. First, adult learners are self-directed and they can learn more independently than children. And that's something really we should keep in mind when planning our sessions, because we need to factor in the autonomy that adult learners might want to exercise. The second assumption about how adults learn is really that they bring vast prior knowledge to the table, and their experiences really are something to build on. That also leads us to the fact that really with maturity comes an internal motivation. So adult learners are more intrinsically motivated and they might not need as many external rewards, but they also need to know why they're doing specific things and how activities or coursework will benefit them personally or professionally.